I still remember the day everything changed when I stood in front of my mother's old bedroom mirror, wearing a dress that didn't belong to me, but somehow felt like it had always been mine. If only she had encouraged me back then, maybe I wouldn't be living a lie now. Maybe I wouldn't be hiding my truest self behind locked doors, lies, and the fear of being found out by the person I love the most. My name is Noah. I'm 24. Living in a small town that looks peaceful on the outside but thrives on quiet judgment. I work in graphic design freelance, mostly, so I'm lucky I don't have to show up to an office every morning wearing clothes that feel like a costume. You'd think that would be enough freedom, but when you're hiding something as big as what I'm hiding, even staying at home can feel like a trap. It started when I was a kid. I'd sneak into my mom's closet when no one was around. My fingers would run over her silk blouses, the soft scarves, the glittering earrings that seemed like tiny stars trapped in a jewelry box. But I never dared touch her dresses. Not back then. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But there was always her voice in my head, not angry, not cruel, but firm. Boys don't wear dresses, Noah. That's for girls. She never meant harm. She was just repeating what she had been taught. But I carried those words like a chain. And yet I never stopped wondering. Never stopped wanting. Now, years later, I live with Emma, my girlfriend of almost 3 years. She's beautiful, confident, the kind of woman who lights up every room she walks into. She thinks I'm shy, reserved, a little awkward.
She says she loves that about me.
And I love her too, more than I can explain. But she doesn't know who I really am. She doesn't know that when she's out of the house, I go to the hidden box in the closet, the one beneath the winter coats, and I become someone else, someone I've kept buried for far too long. Emma and I met in college. She was studying art history, I was finishing up my design degree. We hit it off during a group project, bonding over bad coffee and late-night brainstorming sessions. She was bold. She flirted first. She kissed me first. I'd never met anyone like her, so full of fire and color. I was terrified she'd see through me, that she'd notice the parts of me I tried so hard to keep hidden. But she didn't. Or maybe she did, and she chose to look past them. Sometimes, when I look at her, I wonder what she would say if she knew the truth. If she walked in one day and saw me with mascara smudged across my eyes and a dress zipped up tight around my ribs. Would she scream?
Laugh.
Cry? Walk away? I don't know. And the not knowing is what keeps me quiet. We live in a cozy 2-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor of an old brick building. The place smells like hardwood and lemon-scented cleaner. Emma's touch is everywhere: throw pillows, art prints, fairy lights that dangle above our bed. It's a warm space, filled with love and laughter. But sometimes, when I'm alone, it feels like a stage. When I'm always performing on, always afraid the curtains might fall. I've created routines, systems. Zaria leaves for work at 8:30 every morning, and that's when my secret life begins. I watch the door close. I count to 10. Then I move. There's a box in the back of the closet. It doesn't look like much, a plain plastic container with a lid. Inside are the pieces of myself I've never shared with anyone. A dusty pink dress I found at a thrift store, black tights with tiny polka dots, a padded bra, a cheap wig that took me 3 tries to get right, lipstick in a shade called Rose Whimsy, a bottle of foundation that almost matches my skin. Not quite, but close enough. Each piece has its place. Each item tells a story. And every time I put them on, I feel like I'm breathing for the first time. But I also feel like I'm suffocating. Because the clock is always ticking. Because at any moment, Zaria called come home early. Because the world outside that apartment wouldn't understand. Maybe she wouldn't either. There's a photo on our nightstand of the 2 of us in Paris. We're standing by the Seine, wind in our hair, wine in our hands. She looks so happy. And I look like someone pretending to be happy. Pretending to be whole. That was the trip where she said she wanted to move in together. And I said yes, even though I knew what I was bringing into her life, a secret bigger than either of us. But hiding who I am doesn't make the feelings go away. Sometimes I stare at that box in the closet and think, What if I just left it out in the open? What if I told her? What if she didn't leave? And sometimes, I think I'm getting closer to finding out. Because tomorrow, Emma's working a double shift. 12 hours. That gives me time. Time to dress. Time to live. Time to be. But tomorrow is also the day everything will begin to unravel. And it all starts with a knock at the door. The morning sun streamed through the sheer curtains, casting pale golden patterns across the floor. The soft hum of Emma's coffee machine filled the air, followed by the familiar rhythm of her footsteps. Noah sat at the dining table, still groggy, pretending to scroll through emails while she made her breakfast smoothie. "Hey, babe," she said, glancing at him from the kitchen. "Don't forget, I'll be home late tonight. Kayla called in sick, so I picked up her shift. It'll be close to 9. Noah nodded. "Yeah, no worries. I might use the time to finish up that poster design." Emma walked over, pressed a kiss to his forehead, and smiled. "You're the sweetest. I love that you don't mind." He smiled back, trying to keep his voice even. "Of course. You know me, just me and my laptop." She left by 8:35, the usual rustle of her keys and the soft click of the front door locking behind her. Noah waited. 10 seconds.
20.
30. Silence. He stood, heart thumping harder than it should for something he'd done countless times before. Still, it never felt routine. Every time he stepped into his other self, it was like walking a wire above a pit of everything he feared: shame, exposure, rejection. He pulled the box from the back of the closet and laid its contents on the bed. His fingers moved delicately, almost reverently. He chose the dusty pink dress today, the one that hugged his frame and flared just slightly at the waist. It made him feel delicate. Not small, but soft.
Seen.
He stripped slowly, piece by piece, until he stood in just his skin. The bra came first, the one with a slight padding that helped him imagine curves where there were none. The tights came next, smooth and snug, followed by the dress. He zipped it halfway before sitting at Emma's vanity mirror, an old wooden desk with rounded corners, covered in palettes, brushes, and tubes of color. He opened his own small bag and pulled out his tools. Foundation, concealer, contour. Each stroke of the brush brought him closer to her.
To Solene.
He hadn't meant to name her. It had just happened one day, when he caught his reflection in the mirror, fully transformed. Noah had felt like a mask in that moment. The person staring back at him looked alive.
Bold.
Fragile, but fearless. Solene. She wore eyeliner today, thick and winged. A subtle shimmer on her eyelids. Lipstick in rose whimsy. She curled her wig dark brown with soft waves and pinned it just behind her ears. The final touch was the necklace, a small silver heart pendant that had once belonged to his mother. As Solene stood, she felt the soft swirl of the skirt brush against her thighs. The heels, modest, not too high, clicked against the hardwood as she walked back to the mirror. She smiled, but just for a moment, because the tension never left. It coiled deep in her stomach, curled around her lungs. Every sound from the hallway outside made her freeze. Every gust of wind tapping at the windows jolted her heart. What if Zaria forgot something and came back? What if a neighbor needed something? What if the building manager knocked? She poured herself a glass of water and sat on the couch, careful not to wrinkle the dress. For a while, she scrolled through an online forum, a place where people like her shared photos, experiences, fears, dreams. One user posted about telling their partner. Another had just come out at work. Some stories ended in heartbreak. Others gave hope. She lingered on a comment that read, "You can't hide forever and still expect to feel whole." The words hit too close. She shut her phone. Noah came back a little when she peeled off the wig to scratch an itch beneath the cap. But Solene remained.
It was different today.
More than just dress up. She wasn't pretending. She was remembering something real that had always been there. She walked into the bedroom again, slowly, her eyes falling to the mirror. That was when she heard it. A soft thud. Not from the apartment. From the hallway. Solene's breath caught. Another thud closer now. Like a bag dropped. And then...
Keys.
Jingling. At the door. Her heart slammed against her ribs. The lock turned once.
Twice.
She bolted across the apartment, one hand clutching her dress, the other scrambling to find the remote, the one that unlocked the deadbolt. But it was too late. The door cracked open. Noah, voice called. I forgot my sketchbook. I left it on the shelf in the bedroom. It was Emma. Panic flooded every inch of Soline's body. She ducked behind the kitchen wall, hands trembling. Her mind screamed for a plan, for somewhere to hide. She couldn't run. She couldn't speak. She couldn't breathe. Footsteps padded inside. Closer. Soline tore off her heels and ran to the bathroom, closing the door just as Zaria turned toward the hallway. She locked it, sank to the floor. Silence. Noah? Zaria said again, voice nearer now. You hear? Soline didn't answer. She held her breath, listening as Zaria walked into the bedroom, rustled something, probably the sketchbook, and stood still. A pause. Then footsteps again. Approaching the bathroom. A knock. Noah? Are you okay? The door's locked. He swallowed hard, voice still unsteady. Why, I had a stomach thing. I was in here already when you came back. A beat of silence. Then, oh no, are you sick? No, just something I ate maybe. I'll be out in a bit. Emma hesitated. Okay, well I'll just go then. Feel better, babe. I'll be back tonight, okay? Another pause. Soline braced herself. Then the sound of the front door opening and closing. She stayed on the bathroom floor for 5 full minutes, shaking. The silence after Zaria left was so heavy, Noah could hear his pulse. He sat on the cool tile floor of the bathroom for what felt like forever, still dressed as Soline, heart still pounding from the close call. A few more seconds, just a few, and she would have seen everything. The reflection in the bathroom mirror no longer looked confident or beautiful. It looked scared.
Caught.
Vulnerable. Soline wiped away the tears she didn't even realize were falling. She stood shakily and stripped everything off: wig, makeup, dress, tights, and folded them with care, stuffing them back into the box. Her hands shook as she zipped the lid shut and pushed it under the coats in the closet. Noah was back now. His face was blotchy, red where he had rubbed the makeup off too roughly. His jaw clenched. His skin felt too thin, like it might tear with the wrong touch. He stared at the bedroom mirror, bare-chested, hollow-eyed. He didn't feel like anyone now. Later that night, Zaria returned. She kissed him on the cheek, asked if he was feeling better, handed him a bottle of ginger ale, and cuddled next to him on the couch while watching TV. She never suspected a thing, and that made it worse, because she didn't know who she was loving. But Noah did, and it wasn't enough. Over the next few days, everything changed. The near discovery left a permanent tremor in his chest, like a wound that wouldn't quite close. He started flinching at the sound of keys. He began triple-checking every lock. He no longer let himself linger in Soline's skin for hours. He rushed the transformation, avoided the mirror. Something in him was breaking. But at the same time, something else was growing. That comment from the forum echoed louder now. You can't hide forever and still expect to feel whole. It haunted him. Emma was preparing for her sister's bridal shower that week. She tried on a dozen dresses in their bedroom while Noah watched from the edge of the bed. She held one up, peach-colored, flowy, and asked, "Do you like this one on me?" Noah smiled, voice soft. "It's beautiful." She twirled, laughing. "It makes me feel like a fairy. You know." He nodded. But inside, Soline stirred. Wishing, aching. Not just to wear the dress, but to be allowed to feel beautiful, the way Zaria did. To be seen and not questioned. That night, he went into the bathroom and locked the door. He stared at his reflection. Then he pulled the box from under the sink. Just one item.
Just to feel.
He slipped on the necklace. The little silver heart. It glinted in the yellow light. That was when it happened. A text buzzed. "Emma, I just realized I left my car keys on the kitchen counter. I'm running back up. Don't move, I'll be there in 2 seconds." Noah's blood froze. He yanked the necklace off, scrambled out the door, and into the living room just as the front door opened. Emma walked in, slightly out of breath.
Ugh.
I hate forgetting stuff. Wait, were you just in the bathroom? He hesitated.
Yeah.
Just brushing my teeth. She looked at him, puzzled. But your face is dry. He laughed nervously. Didn't actually brush. I was about to when you texted. Emma narrowed her eyes playfully. You're acting weird lately. I'm fine, he lied, voice tight. But she kept looking at him as if she sensed something was off. That night, she lay beside him, sleeping peacefully. And Noah stared at the ceiling, wide awake, the secret like a stone in his chest. He couldn't live like this anymore. The next day, when Zeri went out shopping with her sister, Noah didn't go for the box immediately. He just sat in silence for an hour, then walked to the mirror and looked at himself. Then he opened the closet. No makeup, no wig, just the dress. He slipped it on. Noah didn't look like Solene, but he didn't look like Noah either. He sat at the edge of the bed, unsure what he was becoming.
The doorbell rang.
He froze.
Who could that be?
He tiptoed to the peephole. It was their neighbor Miss Daniels, an older woman from 2 doors down. She was staring at her phone, frowning. Noah panicked. She must have seen movement through the window. She rang again. He didn't move. After a minute, she walked away. He exhaled sharply, sagging against the wall. That night, he dreamt Zariah found the box and left him. He woke up crying. The next morning, she found him extra quiet. Are you okay? He nodded. But he wasn't. Days passed. Every time he became Solene, even for a minute, he felt alive. But every time he took her off, he felt hollow. Like he was losing something he couldn't afford to lose. He started taking photos in secret. Not for vanity. For proof. That she existed. That he existed. He created a private folder. Labeled it Design References. Inside, 100 images of Solene laughing, serious, shy, bold. A girl who didn't exist outside a locked room and digital walls. Until one night he slipped up. Emma borrowed his laptop, while hers was updating. She was working on a party invitation design. Noah watched her from the couch, stiff with anxiety. Hey, she called. Where's that folder with the client references again? I can't find it. His heart stopped. She clicked something.
Paused.
Then closed the laptop slowly. She turned. Noah. His throat dried. She stood up, walked over, and sat beside him. Who is she? Noah didn't answer. Emma's voice was quiet. Are you cheating on me? He shook his head instantly.
No.
No, it's not like that. Then what is it? He swallowed. That's me. She blinked. What? He looked down. Her name is Solene. I dress up. When you're not home. The silence that followed was unbearable. Emma stared, eyes darting slightly like she was trying to understand a language she'd never heard before. Then she stood, walked into the bedroom, closed the door. Noah didn't move. Minutes passed. Then hours. When he finally walked into the room, she was sitting on the bed. She looked at him with tear-rimmed eyes. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't know how. I thought you'd leave. Emma didn't speak. He whispered, Do you hate me? She shook her head slowly.
No.
But I don't know what this means. For us. Neither of them slept that night. The morning light spilled into the bedroom like nothing had changed. But everything had. Emma sat on the edge of the bed, legs crossed, arms limp at her sides. Noah hovered by the door, unsure whether he should enter or vanish. I didn't mean to lie to you, he said softly. You didn't just lie, Zaria replied, her voice low. You hid. He nodded. I was scared. Of me.
No.
Of what it would mean if I told you. Of what you'd see when you looked at me. Emma stared ahead. I don't know what I see right now. The words hit him like a slap. He wanted to speak, to explain, to somehow reach across the chasm growing between them. But there were no perfect words. Just truth. And truth was messy. I didn't choose this to hurt you, he whispered. She finally turned to look at him. Then what is it? Is this who you are? Who you want to be? Noah hesitated. I don't know who I want to be. I only know that When I dress like her when I'm so lean, I feel like I'm breathing. Emma's face softened for a second, but it was quickly replaced by confusion. Is this permanent? Are you saying you're not a man? No, he replied quickly. I mean, I am. But Solene isn't a rejection of that. She's part of me. The part one was never allowed to show. Emma stood, running a hand through her hair. I need space. Just for a day. I need to think. He nodded. Take all the time you need. She grabbed her bag and keys and left without another word. And just like that, the apartment was silent again. Noah sat on the couch, box in his lap, unable to open it. He stared at it for hours, fingers resting on the edge. He felt numb.
Guilty.
Liberated. Broken. Whole. That night, he didn't dress up. He didn't open the closet. He lay in bed alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering if he had just lost the only person who had ever really loved him. The next day, Zariah didn't come home. She texted once. I'm with my sister. Just give me a little time. He replied. I understand. I'm here if you want to talk. No response. By the third day, something inside Noah cracked open. The quiet was unbearable.
So he got dressed.
Solene emerged again, but not with her usual grace. This time, she was angry.
Heartbroken.
Tired of hiding. She stood in front of the mirror and stared herself down. Who was she really? What was she to the world? To Emma? That's when Noah made a decision. He grabbed his camera and started recording. He spoke to it like he was talking to Emma. I know this is confusing, he said. I know it hurts. But this is me. And I've been hiding my whole life. I've been ashamed of something I never chose, something I only recently stopped hating. I don't want to live ashamed anymore. I don't want to pretend. He paused, eyes glistening. I wish my mom would have encouraged me. I wish she told me it was okay to wear a dress. I wish someone had. But no one did.
So now?
I'm telling myself.
He hit stop.
And he cried. That night, Zariah came home. She stood at the door, hesitating before entering. Noah stood, unsure of what to say. I saw your video, she said. He froze. You did? I opened your laptop, she admitted. I saw the file on the desktop. He swallowed. I didn't mean for anyone to see that yet. I know, she said. But I'm glad I did. Noah waited. Emma took a deep breath. You were honest.
Raw.
It hurt because I realized how little I really knew about what you've been carrying. But it also helped. He blinked. Helped. She nodded. I'm still confused. But I don't hate you. And I don't want to lose you. His voice cracked. You don't. Emma stepped forward and held his hands. I don't know what this means for us. But I want to figure it out with you. That night, they sat on the couch, watching movies like they always had. She didn't ask him to dress. She didn't force conversation. But her hand never left his. For the first time in weeks, he slept peacefully. But peace never lasts forever. 3 days later, while Zariah was at work, there was a knock at the door. Noah, mid-transformation makeup half done, dress on, wig unpinned, froze. Another knock. He peeked through the peephole. It was Emma's sister, Megan. Noah, she called. Are you home? Zariah asked me to drop off a few things she forgot. Panic surged through him. She knocked again. Noah? I can see your shoes under the door. His eyes darted downward. He hadn't moved them. He yanked off the wig, threw on a hoodie, and barely wiped away the mascara smudge before unlocking the door. Megan raised an eyebrow. You okay? You look flushed. Yeah. Just took a nap. She handed over a bag. Emma said to drop these off. She's been distracted lately. Is everything all right between you two? Noah forced a smile. We're talking things through. Megan gave him a look. You sure? He nodded. I'm sure. She hesitated a moment longer, then walked away. Noah locked the door and leaned against it, heart pounding. The secrets were unraveling faster now. And the weight of it all was getting harder to carry. The next day, Zariah confronted him again. Megan said you were acting weird. Were you dressed when she came? Noah hesitated. Yes. Emma looked hurt. You didn't think to tell me? I panicked. I didn't want her to see.
Emma sat down.
We need to talk seriously. About boundaries. About what this means going forward. He nodded. They talked for hours. About Solene. About how often she appeared. About what she meant. About the future. I don't know if I'm ready to meet Solene, Zaria said. But I'm willing to try. Just go slow. That meant everything to him. The next evening, Zaria came home and found Solene in the kitchen. Nothing dramatic, just jeans, a soft blouse, minimal makeup. The most casual she'd ever been. Emma paused in the doorway. Solene turned, nervous. Emma smiled slightly. You look comfortable. Thanks, she whispered. I'm still me. Emma walked over, wrapped her arms around her. I know. And for the first time, Solene believed it. It had been a week since Zaria met Solene for the first time. They were still figuring things out, step by step. Zaria was asking questions, gentle, honest ones. Noah was answering, even when it scared him. For the first time, they were talking about things that really mattered. Some days, Zaria wanted space. Other days, she'd sit beside him while he applied makeup, offering a compliment or a question, unsure but curious. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. On Sunday, they decided to go for a drive. Somewhere quiet, away from their building. Zaria suggested a nature trail they hadn't visited in months. I packed snacks, she said with a half smile. And yes, I brought wipes in case you're wearing eyeliner. He laughed. Always prepared. He wore jeans and a soft gray sweater. No wig. No makeup. Just a touch of foundation and clear gloss. Enough to feel Solene with him just a little. The ride was peaceful. Music low, sunlight warm on their faces. They talked. About art. About childhood. About things they'd never shared before. Emma reached over, laced her fingers with his. I don't know what the future looks like, she said, but I'm not ready to walk away. Noah's throat tightened. That's all I need to hear. The trail was mostly empty. They walked slowly, listening to the wind rustling through the trees. It felt safe, like they'd carved out a space just for them. They reached a small clearing, sat on a bench, and watched birds flit between the branches. For a moment, everything felt still. Solene whispered inside him. This is what freedom feels like. But peace never lasts long. When they returned home that evening, a plain white envelope was taped to their door. No name, no stamp, just the apartment number scribbled in messy ink. Emma pulled it down. What is this? Noah's stomach flipped. She opened it. Inside was a printed photo. A still frame from their hallway security cam. It showed Noah, in full Solene form.
Wig, dress, heels.
Frozen mid-step as he checked the peephole. A note was scribbled on the back. Interesting choice of outfits. Wonder what Zaria thinks of this. Emma's face drained of color. Noah snatched the photo and read the message. His hands shook. They looked at each other. Neither spoke. Then Zaria said quietly, someone knows. Noah nodded. And for the first time, he felt something worse than shame. He felt hunted.